I really love that. Then
Yeah.
I was also going to say that lately you've known that sort of the progress has flourished in my life. I had an example of something that normally would have been a total grip in my life throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I just knew that, don't worry, I won't. She's like, don't go into detail. Don't need to leave. Thanks, Mom. But it was really helpful in that moment. I've been able to now, I don't vocalize a lot of the stuff that I might be thinking, but now inside of my thinking and inside of the emotional patterns, I'm not gripping at all. I just let the things come through, and I said, all right, so this is the news, this is the stuff. And I liked it. It was a little bit because we watched the Dalai Lama compassion little retreat that Lions Roar put on
last month.
I don't know if that was, and yeah, just his smiling and just his kind of what you're like, okay, or this kind of thing. It was like I practiced kind of this mental Dalai Lama in my head as you're receiving bad news, and I was like, okay, okay, yeah, okay, and I just kind of took it on as this is an opportunity. This is a nice challenge. Everything that normally would be such a pain in the and it was just. I realized how much weight I'd been carrying around because of all of the responses.
Big revelation.
The emotional responses to an event rather than just an event.
Yes.
The face value of the event. And it just felt so, I was like
it's
almost
never
ecstatic, like Peter was saying about death. I was like, it was like, God, I hope I'm not addicted to like bad news now, because this is so exciting how my reaction.
Well, you're discovering, it's never just the event. It's always, that's the Four Noble Truths right there. It's never just the event. The source, right? Second Noble Truth. What's the first Noble Truth? There's suffering. Duh. Second Noble Truth. What's the source of suffering? It's not just the event. It's our reaction to the event. It's our overlay of shutting down, holding on, and being identified as a separate self that necessarily must be impinged upon by those events, right? If here's the event, here's the event, right? If there's just an event, there's no impact. If there's a separate self, a solid, chunky separate self, ow, 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 there's suffering. That's how suffering happens. It's never just the event, right? Now, but if we can discover, that what I am is not this separate self, what I am is boundless like space, then we got this again. That's the third noble truth. The third noble truth is once we've identified in the second noble truth the source of suffering, right? Which is, this hanging on to this false identity. We let go of that. That's liberation. That's the end of suffering, right? So there you go. 1, 2, 3. That's all we need is 3 noble truths. But guess what? We know there's 4 noble truths. Why is there a 4th? Because we get it. Okay, let go. Everything's fine. And then, we're back in it again. Damn, how'd that happen? We backslid. Isn't that interesting? That's the order. Because what is the 4th noble truth? Practice. Right? Kristen, you know this. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Right? Practice. Right? And because it's like we get it and then, we get it and then, we lose it. And that's okay. We get it, we lose it, we get it, we lose it. That's how it has to be. That's how it is for everyone. And the Buddhas are the people that kept practicing until, eventually you lose it less and less. And then it's just stuff happening in space. And if you really want to help, getting back to Susie's question, I'm pointing up at the top of my screen where Susie's square is at the moment. If you really want to help other people with their suffering, give them $1, give them a sandwich. The best way, if you can, is help them discover this. That's we don't always get an opportunity to do that. But I mean, one way is what we're doing here is satsang, is exploring truth together, and getting that insight and that experience to be more and more unshakable. But other ways, sometimes it's I was dealing with a friend earlier today who's, kind of caught up in, some career stuff. Oh, did she make the right choice in this thing in her career? And then some other stuff and other stuff. And, I don't have any freaking answers for any of the specifics of this stuff, right? But I don't know. I told some joke, sang a little song, something, not making light of her stuff, but helping lighten it up. And somehow then she was dealing with the same stuff and it was not overwhelming her that much. And we can all do that. And it gets easier and easier to do that as we're more and more established in that place where our own stuff does not impinge on us so much. Right? Because that's the same place, the place of non-impingement for all beings. Right? So in that sense, like a really good thing you can do to help others with their suffering, Susie, is get liberated from your own suffering. That's the number one thing.
Right, because you're an admirable example for us once a week or twice a week, and having the Dalai Lama in my head is okay, just
Yeah.
even almost and at times vicariously living through that smile and the nod helps me, just like the Irene row your boat one.
Yeah.
It's sort of like I just picture him sort of his beautiful little smile, and I'm like, it's fine.
There it is. That's what you go. There it is. That's what it looks like. Yeah. And it's great. It's great to have, because like the real stuff, of course, is the real thing. It's invisible. It's intangible. It's silent, yada, yada, yada. But to have these little visible or tangible or, recallable reminders, the Dalai Lama's smile, this song, this mantra, this whatever it is, and if you have people around you, and if it's someone who's like happens to be a meditation guide, or maybe it's the nice old man or old lady who runs the convenience store on the corner, who every time you go in there, hey, got this nice smile, and hey, how you doing? And suddenly, and you might have been caught up in your thoughts about XYZ, and then, oh yeah, yeah, I'm doing okay. How you doing? Right? And that's what we're all here doing that for each other. Speaking of Ram Dass, a wonderful saying of Ram Dass's, I think it's at the end of his book, Be Here Now. He says, we're all just walking each other home.
Mm.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an end of suffering for all people.
It's the end of suffering for all sentient beings.
Yeah, all sentient beings. So the enlightenment is such a significance.
Yeah. It's the whole ball of wax.
For the purpose.
Yeah. I sing with this group. It's called the Threshold Choir. They have chapters all over the country and in other countries. This is something some of you might be interested in sometime. I don't know. It's called, the local group here is the West Side Threshold Choir, because we're the west side of Los Angeles. And we sing for dying people. And we have these little songs, and my big challenge is most of the people in the choir are women. So the parts, I get the alto part, but it's still too high for me. So I have to, I have to adapt. I'm not the only male in our local choir, but I think I'm the only straight male in our local choir. Um, but in any case, but why should it be that way? Why should it be that only women have that sensitivity and that proclivity, right? I don't know. Anyway, one. So we have this little repertoire of songs that we learned and we sing them in unison and in harmony, and one of them is from that saying of, and they're simple little songs, and one is from that saying of Ram Dass's. Is, we are all just walking each other home. We are all just walking each other home. We are all, and so forth. Anything else?
I think for me, what's hard to letting go is suffering, actually.
Wait, say it again.
What's hard to letting go is suffering.
Yeah. Yeah. What's hard to let go of is suffering. Yeah. That's the whole thing. That's all there is to let go of. That's all there is. That's all there is. And that and so, that's going back to the question that I challenged Peter with before. What are you holding on to? You're holding on to suffering. Right? There's nothing, because what else is there? Thoughts. There's nothing wrong with thoughts. Sensory experiences. There's nothing wrong with sensory experiences. All the thoughts, the feelings, the sensory, that's this stuff. That's this stuff. What we're holding on to is the impact. That's the suffering. Right? Why? That's not very smart. Right? 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 Hello? Okay, and why? Habit. Because it's what we know how to do, because we've had a lot of practice. We've been practicing it for thousands of lifetimes. And now we've been practicing the letting go of it for, a few years. So it takes some practice. Right?
So there's just this belief that this suffering, or whatever you want to put on it, is real stuff.
It's real and it's important. It's mine.
Yeah, it's serious.
Because we define ourselves with it. Who am I? I am the one who got his heart broken in the 3rd grade by the cute little girl in the sandbox. I am the one whose talent for XYZ is not appreciated. I am the one who, right? Ugh, it's so tiresome. Aren't you sick of it yet? I know I am. But apparently I'm not sick enough, because I'm not completely liberated. But we're working on it.
It's an amazing situation.
I am the one. I am the one. I'll tell you something that happened, Peter, when Maggie died, my first wife, who died in 2004. And there's so much that gets shifted around that, as you can imagine. We'd been married for 25 years. She was the mother of my children and so forth. And, Peter, she was this very larger than life, beautiful, funny person. You go through this stuff. The first time I found myself at the A&P buying groceries for one instead of two, I would buy 2 bananas, one yellow one and one green one. Right? And the yellow one would for the next day or two, and then the green one after that, and then it would be time to go shopping again. So all this stuff that no one tells you about until that happens. But I found that one of the things that was happening was now I was starting to develop a little bit of an attitude about how fucking heroic I was. Right? I was starting to, who am I? I'm the guy whose wife died. Right? And everyone around you is so nice that if you let them, they'll feed that. Right? I'm the one, and it kind of made me like a special. It made me special. It made me like the special character in the movie. Right? My quiet heroism. Right? And then that was in March that she died, 2004. Then that summer, I went on retreat. This is when we were still having those Dzogchen retreats, Peter, up in Garrison Institute. Beautiful place on the Hudson River, next to Bear Mountain. And they did something really, and a lot of the people in that group knew Maggie because she had done some teaching in that group. And so in a way that was, here I'm with everyone who's really going to appreciate, what a special suffering hero I am. But then they did this thing where they set up a table in one corner or somewhere in the meditation hall for people to put up little pictures and slips of paper with little, poems or wishes or whatever about their departed loved ones. And by the time we got to the end of the retreat, the table was covered with this stuff. And I'd put at the beginning, here's my little picture of Maggie and my little whatever prayer for her or something. And by the end, it was covered with this stuff. And I remember standing there looking at all that stuff and going, well, fuck me. I mean, excuse me, but, that was the feeling of, what an idiot I am. It's everyone. There's nothing special about this. There's nothing unique. My identification with this is bullshit. It's just one more story to trap myself in. Why do that? It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. It's a cheap high. It's like drinking cheap wine. You'll get high, but then the headache's not worth it. Is that making sense?